Today we are going to begin creating our gnome homes. You're going to open up your journal to the page with your drawing. Make sure that you can see your design the entire time. You're going to be getting a slab of clay and a container. Make sure that when you cut out your design into the clay that you know it will actually fit inside of the container. This is where it's going to be stored for a whole week and hopefully stay moist during that time. So you're going to start by just lightly drawing the outside shape or the outer edge of your gnome home in the clay lightly, and then you're going to press harder and go ahead and cut that out. Keep that extra clay nearby and keep it flat. Don't ball it all up. Make sure it stays flat into a slab shape. So make sure, double check that your slab is going to fit inside of the container as the shape that you've created it in. And then you're going to start creating the parts of your gnome home using those extra pieces. So you can see right here that I am working on a door. You always want to draw lightly first and then cut that piece out. So thinking about what type of texture you want for the background depending on what your item is. You could see I use the stick to make those lines of separation of like the different colors of the watermelon. We have the rollers that you could use as well. Now you can see I've cut out the door and I'm kind of molding it into a better shape. You want to kind of smooth things out with your finger. You're not using the slip for that. The slip is not meant to help you smooth out the clay. Just use your finger and then remember to attach by scoring with a toothbrush and then adding the slip. And you can use that toothbrush to do that as well. So make sure that you score and slip every piece of clay. It will not stay together if you do not do that. It's very important. So from here, you're going to make sure that that's attached really well if you need to blend that in or whatever you need to do. From here, you can continue adding the details with the stick. I'm adding an extra little doorknob on the clay door, so you can get as detailed as you'd like. You just have to keep in mind that you only have 2 classes to do this. So I am going to continue making the different parts of the house. So I'm cutting out the windows for the doors, just kind of measuring this out before I attach it by scoring and slipping, making sure it's the right shape, making sure to smooth anything out. Remember, anything that's rough and with like the little crumbs or sharp edges, those will become very sharp once the clay is fired. So make sure that you tidy things up as you go along. So you can use the stick to kind of draw details in, but make sure a lot of what you're adding is used by additional clay. Like you wouldn't want to just draw the door in your clay slab. You want to be attaching extra clay to create the doors and the windows of your gnome home. So I'm going to continue along adding the different parts and pieces of my gnome home. So you can see here I'm making the extra pieces that wouldn't quite fit going on the first week. But you could create these pieces if you have time and then just kind of keep them separated in the bin. Otherwise, this is something that you would do next week. So I made the chimney and now I'm making the walkway. Don't forget to add the different textures for the different parts of your gnome homes. So if you created these today, you would not score and slip them on, but then you would go ahead and do this next week. And some of these elements you might need to have your clay gnome home standing upright before you attach them, like the walkway. So you can see here how I'm standing up the gnome home and I'm beginning to curve that around so that I am seeing exactly where I need to put that walkway. So this would be like a final step. So I'm kind of keeping this separate for now, just so I would be able to put everything back in the container for the first week. So the next week is when you would attach those parts and pieces. At the end of class, you're just going to kind of squish up and ball up any extra clay that you have left over, and we can roll that out again to make a new slab next week. Keep your container open until I've sprayed it. We're just going to get a little water in there and then make sure it's closed in there tight and that we've got your name label in there where we can see it.